Alright, I'm going to show how to change the rear end grease in a Fox body Mustang. And sorry for the graininess, I'm in the middle of moving and I took out some of my shop lights to put in the new shop. But anyways, one of the things you want to do is get the car jacked up. Like what you see there. Going to need a drain pan, pull the differential cover off. Okay, a little work on Phoenix here. I noticed that the rear end was leaking. It just kept dripping and dripping and dripping. So I'm just kind of come in here and pop the cover off, see what I got on the inside. It is bone dry, so good thing I checked that out. So one thing I want to point out, if you're doing your fluid change, is I'll get my finger out of the way. Get squeezed up in here. So this little bolt right here, that holds the bullpen in, which is right. Sorry for the light. I guess I should have done a little better on that. But this little pin here holds the bullpen in, and that holds all your spider gears in. So if that little bolt breaks, and is a 30-something-year-old bolt, got to have a 98 Mustang, right, to do my 5-volt conversion, everything falls apart. So bad things happen. So this is what I'm using. I actually got this from Rock Auto for stupid cheap. This is the bolt, this is what it looks like. I'll crawl out. This is everything that fits. So, good portion of stuff. So what I have is the Ford. If you look right here, the Ford 7.5 is what's in there because I used a 98 Mustang V6 car. But it also works for the 8.8. So it'll work for both of those, same bolt. I forgot how much I paid for it, but it's I think it's under 10 bucks for it, and it has the thread locker on it. So that's what I'm going to replace right quick, since I have it apart. If you're changing the fluid and your rear end, and you're right there, change it. Because like I said, this thing's a little dinky bolt, and if it breaks, and it will break, everything falls apart in the rear end, and there you are. Major stuff over $8 part, if that. Okay. On pulling this out, I noticed something. When I had it clocked up, where the little pin, I don't know what you call that pin, the little lock retainer pin, where it was there, it come up and it hit the bearing clamp right there, the carrier bearing. So what I did was I broke it loose where it was before, then I rotated it around, and you can see it right there. I probably had to put an arrow on it instead of using my finger. But you can see it right there, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the bullpen in with one hand, and then take that out, thread the new one in, and then rotate it back around to where I torque it. So what I don't, actually I could change the bullpen at this point, but I don't want to. So you got to be careful with this, because you don't want to drop the bullpen right here out, because in your spiders there's nothing holding those in and they'll fall out, and you get to learn how to do that. So that's never happened to me, but just forewarning. The other thing I want to note is on the rear end cover, you see I've lowered the sway bar just by taking out 2 bolts. I took out, there's 4 bolts that hold in, 2 on each side. So I took out 2 of the bolts. You can kind of see how it's hanging in there, and that allowed it to just kind of swing down out of the way. I'm going to clean this surface up, and I'm not going to use a gasket on this. Silicone works fine for this application, just actually better than most gaskets. Alright, got it out. Looking at it here. So, you can see a little bit of wear right there. And I swear it's bent. It just kind of has that little bit of bow to it. So, good thing I changed that out. Cheap part. Save a bunch there. So the next thing I want to do, actually I want to talk about torquing it. So this is the size wrench I used right here. Little wrench, little torque. What you don't want to do is come in with this thing and break it off in your third member. It's not going to be fun at all. So I just put that on there and just kind of popped it with my hand a couple times. It's got thread locker on it, so it's not going to come out. That's what I put in gym, and I've been driving out all crossing it and whatnots, so that'll be good. So I'm going to clean up my fasteners for my differential cover, and once I get that done, I'll throw a little silicone on there, clean the cover up, of course, and then pop that on. And I'll show some bits and pieces of that too. Okay, so here's the differential cover, and I just want to show that usually I don't show the dirty parts, but this is the incorrect way of putting silicone on anything. Right there, all that gunk, they put so much on there that it's just rolling around on the inside, then it's going to get inside the rear end. Now thankfully it's a rear end and not an engine. You did that on the engine and you're looking at clogging up the oil pump screen. So if it gets in between the fine gears of your oil pump, it can break your oil pump or break the drive gear. Okay, it's just going to lock it right up. So anyways, that's the fasteners that were on there. I'll clean those up right quick. They still have a little factory coating on them, so I'm not going to take any of that off. That's nice. But I will get all the gunk off of them. Other than that, it's fairly clean. Shouldn't take long to get this cleaned up. Now right here, looks like this is the only area where they put the appropriate amount of silicone. So 1/8 inch bead around, and then you can go around that way or go around that way. And what I do is I come back and just kind of smooth it out with my finger, come around, and I'll try to show that, but, once I do that, I'm going to have silicone all over my hands, or, if I use gloves, on the gloves, and then I'll try to film it and get it all over my phone. So, I'll try not to do that, but I'll show you the proper way to get the silicone on there. See, they had so much, this is silicone here, gunked up, so there's big old beads just gunked up everywhere. So, like I said, that's the incorrect way to do it. And I'll try to show you all the right way. And there's more than one way to do it. Just don't, gunk it up like that or not have enough. Okay, I got it cleaned up. As clean as it needs to be anyway. So I just kind of scraped everything off and then come back over a little bit of a paint thinner on a rag just to get any of the grease off of it. I'll need to do that on the rear end side too. So the back side, this is at, I don't know what it is, kind of a plastic-ish flexible coating. That's the same thing that's on the bolts. So I'm just going to leave that on. This is an aluminum cover, so if you want to take that off and paint it, it's easy to do. It'll come out looking pretty good. Actually, I was going to, when I did gems, I was going to polish gems, but then I got a little aggressive with it with my flapper wheel, and that turned into just painted silver real quick. But yeah, just avoid, if you're going to sand it down, to avoid anything real aggressive to get this stuff off, because it is a little hard to get all of it off. Some of it will peel off like what you see here, come off real easy, and you get excited, and then you get over in some other areas, and it's just a huge pain in the butt to get off, but that's doable and get it painted up. So this is the silicone I'm going to be using, just black silicone. Nothing special. And once I get my bolts clean and the rear end clean, I'll throw a bead on there, show you how that's done, and then bolt it on. Anyways, I'm going to start off with the upper one at 12 o'clock. These aren't head bolts, so you don't have to just go in and monkey torque them. That's it. That's all you need. Do the bottom one. Good and tight. And I'm just going clockwise around. Okay, I'm back to the top one. Double check, done. And that's it. That's torque. I'm going to let that set overnight. And then tomorrow evening, I'll put fluid in it. Okay, what we see is the drain fill plug. Come back a little bit so you see the mufflers, drive shaft. I'm looking towards the back of the car. So that's a 3/8 drive. And PB blastered it down while I put the sway bar, the rear sway bar in. It's got the two, at least on this it's a 15mm drive bolts. This one right there, one right there. You got a little lock piece in here that hold them in, so it's 4 bolts total. So I'm just going to come over, break that loose, and then fill her up. Okay, it's out. Here's the plug. I'll clean it up. It's in there pretty good. It wasn't because someone monkey torqued it in there. Just you can just see the rust up that gets up underneath these cars. So what I'm going to do, I'll put a little anti-seize on it whenever I put it back in. So now I'm going to go get my fluid and start filling it up. Alright, so I got the jug up in here. Okay, so you can see what I've done here. I got the jug up here. It's just kind of gravity feeding. What I did was I come down underneath this side with the jug. Got to hold a magnetic light. So I pulled the jug up around this way, and then I have the tube. If you see my finger, the tube, I put it in as soon as possible, and then whipped it up around there. And I'm just letting it kind of gravity feed. You can squeeze it to make it go down a little quicker, but looks like I got an air bubble there. I might have to do a little squeezing. And if your car is dirty like this one, it's you're going to get dirt in your eyes trying to do it. That's just kind of part of it. You can see the muffler's in the way. The upper control arm's kind of in the way. There's just not a whole lot of room underneath these cars. So lift would make this a lot easier with a little pump. But it kind of defeats the purpose of saying you do it yourself if you got to take someone to do it, right? So the other thing, once I got about 3/4 of the way through this bottle, I went in and stabbed a little air hole in it, and then put it back up there and just let it gravity drain. So once you get it up there, you could poke a hole in it. You just got to make sure that you're going to use the whole quart if you're going to do that. I paused doing it the hard way, and I'm going to try the easy way, hopefully. I haven't used this tool yet, so I'm about to find out. Yes, it's cold on the floor here because it went from 60 degrees and sunny with the garage doors open to 30 and raining. G-Funk breath. Okay, so this worked way better than doing the whole bottle squeeze thing, right? Now, it doesn't mean that it's pretty effortless. Like what you saw at on my side pushing it down. It does take a little effort to push the pump down, but it's way better than doing a half sit up trying to put the squeeze bottle after bottle in. So good tool. Okay, so I've gone over how to add the rear end grease, the gear lubricant to a 5-part Mustang. My application is a 91 Mustang with a 98 rear end in it, which is just a 7.5, nothing special. So you'll need about, I'd say 2 to 3 quarts. And you can do it the first way I showed you without any tools, which is kind of the hard way to do it. That's the way I've always done it up until today. Use this pump here. So this worked out pretty sweet. It's basically this little hook here is what all the oil change shops will have something like this that hooks into it. They got a bigger version of it, and they just pump it up in there, and when it runs out, you're done. Trying to do that in one of these is kind of hard because half the time it spills out. But anyways, enough rambling. I hope this video helped you out on this. This will work for any rear end. Basically, you fill it up till it starts running out. That's how you know you got enough. And you look up the charts on how much it's roughly supposed to take.